Thanks everyone, welcome to Chess Advanced, and this game was played in Norway Chess 2024. With the white pieces we have Pragg. This is definitely a battle of prodigies because with the black pieces we have Alireza Firouzja, so definitely it's going to be one epic battle. So let's see what Pragg has to offer with the white pieces. Here we have d4 by Pragg, d5 by Alireza, knight to f3, knight to f6, and just going for c3. This is the Indian game. c6, queen to c2, and just here going for knight to e4, g3 now, and just h6, c4, and bishop to f5. So definitely trying to threaten some discoveries. And the thing is, with a move like knight to h4, if you try to target that, then unfortunately you just lose a pawn here. Knight caps on g3 defends everything, and if you go for knight caps on f5 thinking that you won a piece, here just knight caps on h1, and white will definitely be better in this, black will definitely be better in this position. So here after bishop to f5 we have queen to b3, just moving the queen out of the way by Pragg, queen to b6 by Alireza, and here just c5 targeting the queen. Queen captures, a captures, and knight to a6, but now just comes this bishop to d2, knight captures, king captures, and here just knight to c7, knight to c3 by Pragg, g5 by Alireza. Alireza is definitely thinking of castling queen side and definitely pushing those pawns to try to create some counter attack towards the king side. So here just e3, bishop g7, and just b4, and now just comes a6, knight, bishop to d3, bishop to g4, and finally going for this knight to e5. And the thing is that this knight at the center of the board first is attacking the bishop, so on the other hand, it still is a very strong piece, so better yet to eliminate the piece for it to cause problems later. So here just bishop caps on e5, d captures, and in this position just a queenside castle by Alireza was played. But you could go for a move like bishop to f3, which is the best move recommended by the engine, because here rook h to e1, you play g4, and now after this knight to e2, now you go h5, but knight to d4 now targeting this bishop. So here after once the bishop moves, now you play king to e2, h4, and after bishop captures, d captures, you have e6. So e6 is a beautiful move, saying that what are you going to do in this position, because if you go for knight captures, then knight captures and pawn captures, white's position is absolutely fine. You have triple e pawns here. I mean, that's never good. But here after e captures we have f captures, and here just finally going for this rook e to c1, so definitely the position would be fine here. But after d captures we have a queenside castle by Alireza. So queenside castle is absolutely fine, but what follows is something that needs to be good. Here just knight to e2 was played, bishop captures, king captures, and just f6 by Alireza, but here just e captures, h4, finally targeting those pawns, king to b8, and just h captures on g5, h captures, and although you could trade, but I don't think anything good will come out of it. Here just you're just controlling the file, so better yet just keep the control of it, and with that just king to f3. So a king is the most important piece of the end game, so better yet just get the king towards those pawns and maybe just try to create something. Knight to e6, just king to g4, even saying that you're not checkmating me with those pieces. Queens are off the board. Let's go for the end game now. Here just knight to g7, rook a to d1, and rook d to f8 was played, bishop to f5. And if you trade, the thing is that my king is a bit too active, and that's the problem, because you won't get anything, and my position is going to be absolutely fine. Even if I trade a pair of rooks, it's going to be still very nice, and I can just push those pawns. I can just eliminate these two pass pawns, and I'll have very nice compensation in this position. So here just rook to e8 was played, but now just comes bishop to g6 attacking the rook e to f8. Here if you play rook to d8, it seems like a decent move, but after rook captures, you play e4. You want this file to be open up for your rook, so that's exactly what's happening here. Rook to d8 now finally, but now just e captures, c captures, rook to h1, and here king to c7, but just rook to h6. You could go for a move like that, but I don't think that would do anything. So here after rook to d7, most likely what's going to happen is the king is going to get into the position somewhere along the way. You can push the pawn, and it seems like you have a pass pawn, but it can always be blocked, so there is no reason to worry about this. But something similar to this happened here in the game. Here rook e to f8 was played, but just rook captures, and e4 was played, but now finally rook to d8. Now rook to d3 was played by Pragg, king to c7, and just rook to f3. And it seems like here Alireza is getting a pass pawn that's going to be difficult to stop, because we have stopped this and the pawn is blocking the bishop. So how are you going to be able to stop the pawn? And with that in mind, Alireza goes for d4, but here in this position Pragg's position is very nice, and with the movement of the king that he got the king into the game, he plundered the game. And here just a beautiful move by Pragg, saying that you don't have anything in this position, and here just a rook captures on f6, and that is definitely coming. So how are you going to stop it? Here just d3 was played, but just rook to f7 check, and now just going for king to b8, but a very nice e5 in this position. And e5 is a beautiful move, because the thing is that if you carry on with your plan of pushing your pass pawn with 2d2, here just bishop to c2 comes, d1 queen, bishop captures, rook captures, and the thing is that rook caps on g7. This pass pawn is a bit too strong. You cannot stop it and prevent your position from collapsing at the same time, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So here after e5. Now just knight to e6 was played, but now just comes this king to f5, attacking it. And also here I'm going to be guarding this as well with the bishop going there, so there is no reason for me to worry about it. That's why d2 has no impact, because it's bishop to h5. And even if you go for a move like knight to c7, king captures on g5, d1, queen, bishop captures, rook captures, f4, you can see that these passed pawns have much higher compensation than this piece, and this position is going to be completely collapsing, and Alireza cannot hold this. So here after king to f5 we have knight to d4 check, but Alireza knows that it's over. King to f6 was played, but now just comes d2. But now here bishop to h5, finally going for the same idea. We have rook to h8, but just bishop to g4. And it was on this move, on just move 38, that Alireza Firouzja resigned the game, and Pragg got this spectacular victory in just 38 moves. Really beating a player of Alireza's caliber in just 38 moves is a brilliant play by Pragg, and his performance in Norway Chess 2024 and Norway Chess 2025 even was absolutely spectacular to watch. He's been constantly winning tournaments, and he's in absolutely top form. Let's see what he does in further tournaments as well, especially in Brazil, where he'll be playing in the Grand Chess Tour finals. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.